Okay. Okay, we're good to go. Okay. I want to reconvene the regular session of the board. Our first item on the agenda is the release of the executive session minutes that we agreed in executive session could be released since the matter of which they're dealing with has been resolved or concluded. So do I have a motion to release the February 29th, March 29th meeting, July 25th, and October 1st of 2012? Do I have a motion to authorize them to be released for the public?
So moved.
Approve them. Is that second?
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed? The motion carries. Opening remarks. Do we want to do the land now, or?
Sure.
Yes. Gina? You get, since you are leaving us,
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get that
it's
right
okay.
away.
Since you are leaving us,
What do I do?
just stand up.
If I'm leaving, I can, bye.
No, since your service has concluded
Yes.
with this meeting tonight. It's always been a tradition with the departing commissioners that we give you a meter lamp. So,
Wow.
engraved.
It's pretty cool.
That is really something.
Lock on the bottom.
Did you zoom in on this? This is really something here.
Yep.
Move this out of the way. Oh, wow. This is why everybody should serve on the light department board.
Get a meter lamp.
Thank
So,
you.
anyway, we want to thank you for your service.
Thank
for the
you.
For the 3 years that you've been on the board, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I say that on behalf of all the commissioners. They'll help you take that out, I think.
Yes, it looks a little.
All right. Introductions, we have our Mr. Hoop. Anything you'd like to add at this point, or?
No, just getting in there.
All right, and so now we've got the minutes of the February 20 and the February 27th minutes of 2012, of 13, excuse me. Do I have a motion to accept as presented?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of the February 20th and the February 27th meeting. Any discussion? Yes, Ms. Snow.
Well, I wasn't here on February 20th, and I saw that there was a customer asking about the audits, and it was said that they would begin again in early March. So, is it back on track, or have they begun again?
My intention is to go over that in the general manager's report.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I had a follow-up question.
Yep, go ahead.
If a customer has National Grid gas, can they call National Grid? For example, this customer was looking to get his house insulated. So if they were on National Grid gas, would they be able to call National Grid directly to get an audit?
I'll let Mr. Forney answer.
Come on, Bob, come up to the microphone, please, for the cable TV people.
RMLD customers who heat with natural gas should call the department so we can schedule it and have a record of it, and then we'll go through Next Step Living and set up a date for the audit for them. So it should come through us.
Okay.
Okay. All right, further discussion on the minutes? I see none. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
I wasn't here on the 20th,
Opposed?
so
And you were not, one abstention.
you're doing them together, because I
Oh.
actually had a question on the 27th.
Okay, well, what's your question, the other one?
On the 27th?
Yeah, yes. if you would,
I
please.
just wanted to clarify a statement that I had made on the first page.
Mhm.
Right above the general manager's report, that last sentence. Should be Ms. Snyder clarified that discussion at the January meeting was that the board makes decisions regarding capital expenditures, but the board declined to proceed at the last meeting. And I can give that to
Okay,
Ms. Bodie.
that's fine. What is that?
Excuse me, you made that statement at the meeting,
Yes.
February 27th?
Yes, I clarified to Mr. Capobianco, who was sitting here and I was sitting over there, and he was asking about the new initiatives.
Okay, I just want to remind the board that Gene listens to these minutes on tape, and types out verbatim what has been said.
And then they get edited down because we don't want them verbatim.
Right, they do get edited down, but I think if the sentence was like that, I'm not so sure that it would have been edited down to its.
I know I didn't say that the new general manager would support.
Okay. We're-
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
that's fine.
take the clarification.
Right, we're fine. I'll accept that as part of the main motion, if the seconder in the main motion will accept that. Okay?
Yes.
All right, so now we're ready to vote. So, all those in favor of approval of the February 20th and 27th minutes, please raise your right hand. Opposed? The motion carries 4-0. Okay. What we got next? We got the general manager's report. Mr. Sullivan.
Community announcements. There's an Earth Day concert on Tuesday, April 16th at 10 a.m. at the Reading Memorial High School. And for the past 2 years, the RMLD has provided coloring books and pencils for the Little Treasures Schoolhouse. This concert will be held in the Performing Arts Center and will feature Wayne from Maine. The RMLD is happy to be a sponsor in this event, along with Little Treasures Schoolhouse. Earth Day is Saturday, April 27th, and again, the RMLD will be participating in Earth Day at the Matera Cabin, 1481 Main Street in Reading. The time is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I just got in from the APPA, American Public Power Association, E&O conference. It was held in Orlando. Just arrived back tonight. Terrific conference. One of the subjects that was brought up was the difficulty with which the RTOs, regional transmission operators, and even the ISOs around the country will have in the future managing some of the conventional power supplies in a power portfolio of coal, natural gas, nuclear, and also the renewables that add into that, which most likely are solar and also wind-driven. Due to the expanding and collapsing of the renewables, and how are we going to manage something like that in the future? So just one of the subjects that was brought up that was very interesting, that these regional transmission operators and the ISOs are going to have to take a look at in the future. Under general information, the RMLD reached out to the town of Reading, and we will share in the cost of creating a trust instrument for the OPEB with the town, thanks to Commissioner Snyder for that suggestion of synergy with the town. Also an update on the energy audits. The department had a very productive meeting on the 25th of March with Next Step Living. We got clarification on reports and also invoices. Clarifications on invoices were obtained. Next Step Living understands that no open solicitations for energy audits will take place while they are out in the community. And also, inclusive of that, requests for audits must begin with a customer call or a visit to the RMLD website. And it was a great meeting. I was there, as well as Jane Parento and also Bob Fournier. We had a great meeting with Next Step Living. So, another update on the solar initiative that is going on with the town of Reading. I attended a preliminary meeting earlier in the month with the town of Reading and Broadway Electric, which is the solar developer that the town has chosen, to determine the feasibility of having PV photovoltaic installations placed on some of Reading's schools. And the developer has looked at 11 sites to take a look at. So it was a very exciting meeting. They're looking into the feasibility of it, what structural issues surround it, and what will need to be done to identify these sites as future locations for photovoltaic panels. Also, we received a memo from MWEC today having to do with the receipt of February's bills. We've been promised the 4th of April. We'll receive the February bills tonight. We're being presented with the January financials and also January power supply report, whereas we'll have that information early April. I'd like to remind the board that we have budget reviews with the CAB. The operating budget will be presented first on the 3rd of April, and then the capital budget would take place on the 10th of April, a week apart.
So that's for the CAB presentation that
Yes.
night? Okay.
Yep. That ends my presentation.
should have representation at that meeting. I don't know how we're going to do that. We'll have to figure out how to do that. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay, any questions? All right.
Maybe we can pull the board members by email to see who could be representative at that meeting.
Yeah, right. The question is going to be
Election
what the
is
constitution of
the
this board may be after
Yeah.
the second.
Right.
Right.
You have to wait until the second.
We have to wait until the second to see what the constitution of the board is going to
Well,
be.
also, adding into that, new members will have to be sworn in before they can attend that
Right.
meeting.
Right.
Other than members of the public. They could attend as members of the public.
Right, they could attend as a member of the public.
Well, I need to interject, because the thing is, the meeting on April 3rd, I have to post that by Monday. So we might want to decide by the end of the meeting, for the April 3rd, whether the full board's going to go. We can always post it and then decide that the board's not going to go. It has to be up by Monday.
George, is the full CAB anticipating being there on that?
Yeah. Both those nights.
I was under the impression the full board was going to be present at the CAB meeting next Wednesday night. That was my understanding.
Because we don't have the budget committee, we don't have, last year,
Right.
the budget committee, we don't have a budget committee. And then the two boards, that was the understanding, I understood myself, they were going to be in tandem. The operating's going to start
Okay.
next, will be the first meeting, and then that will be the capital. So, I mean, we might just want to post for it,
Right.
and then we can always cancel it if we need be. I mean, on the board side, because I have to get it up by Monday, that's,
Or maybe
Yeah.
we want to resurrect the budget committee.
Possibility.
we
Yeah.
have to do it tonight.
That, you know. Go ahead, I would post for the meeting.
For the full board.
Post for the full board. I mean, at least that way we're not in any trouble with that,
Right.
with that end.
Right.
And then we'll have to decide who's available that night as to who can be there. And maybe I can resurrect, assuming I get reelected, we can resurrect the budget committee at that point as of that day. I mean,
Well, we could have the quorum, well, why don't we just go with the quorum of the board? I mean, if you have 3 people, it's still a quorum.
okay,
And you can wait on voting as a board till after you do operating capital, then you can vote on
the
the
April
budgets
meeting.
at the end of that point. You don't have to vote on it that night. So long as we get a quorum, we get 3 people for those 2 meetings, I think that's the way to go.
Excuse me.
snowstorms tomorrow, George. Well, who's available for that? I mean, are anybody available? Are you,
I might be, I have to check my schedule.
are your availability, Bob? Is that,
Possibly.
okay.
So once you get a quorum, you get 3 of the board members there.
Yeah.
Both meetings, they don't have to vote on it, they can wait.
Okay.
Till the end of the
CAB,
month.
right, because the CAB
Yep.
is the third day
Mhm.
of the year, so.
That's April 3rd.
April 3rd.
And
Yeah,
the
I
10th,
could
would be
be
the
there.
3rd and the
Okay.
10th.
And then the
the
10th.
10th would be the following meeting.
Right, okay, so let's post the board, let's post that
For
meeting,
the full board.
and let's plan, whoever gets elected, I will talk to them about that too,
Okay, yeah.
after the election, so. Okay. You'll post the 10th also?
Yep.
You might as well post them both at the same
Great,
time.
okay.
Very good. Okay,
And
so,
that April 3rd is at another location?
It's in North Reading,
Correct.
right,
North Reading Town Hall, Route 10. And
Okay.
they start at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, start, both meetings.
Okay.
It gets posted on our website too, so.
All right, okay. All right. So, you're set, Kevin?
I'm set.
Okay. So we move to power supply. Jane?
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to report on the January purchase power. RMLD's load for January came in at 60.7 million kilowatt hours, and that was approximately a 2% increase from January of the previous year. Our energy cost for the month came in at 2.5 million, and that was equivalent to just 4 cents per kilowatt hour. The January fuel charge adjustment was set at 5.5 cents, and RMLD sales totaled 55.9 million kilowatt hours. And as a result, the RMLD overcollected by approximately $482,000, resulting in a deferred fuel cash reserve balance of $2.45 million. The fuel charge adjustment decreased to 5 cents in February, and then it was increased to 5.5 in March, and it's projected to decrease in April and May. The RMLD purchased approximately 5.8% of our energy requirement from the ISO Spot Market at an average cost of $60 per megawatt hour. On the capacity side.
Question? Jane?
Go ahead.
Sure.
How did Macquarie get so cheap?
Macquarie's made up of 2 contracts. They had bought out the old Integris contract, which was a fixed contract, and the other part of that contract was heat rate indexed. And because the natural gas commodity has decreased significantly, we were able to purchase that second half at about $38 per megawatt hour.
Okay. And now gas is almost at $4 for April?
Correct, for April.
So it's going up.
It's ticking up a little, but it's still seasonably low compared to the, $7 or $8 that it could historically be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On the capacity side, the RMLD reached a peak demand of 109 megawatts, and that occurred on January 23rd at 7 p.m. This compares to a peak demand of a year ago at 106.5 megawatts. As a result of our annual peak, our capacity requirements were 211.8 megawatts, and our total capacity dollars came in at $1.5 million, and that's equivalent to a little over $7 per kilowatt month. Table 4 shows both the capacity and the energy costs, as well as the energy generated by the resources. Our January cost for capacity and energy came in at about 6.5 cents for the month of January. Also, in the month of January, we received 7.3% of our energy purchases came from hydro generation, and that's on Table 4. Table 5 talks about RECs that lists the 4 hydro projects that RMLD has signed PPAs with. The RMLD sold 12,613 2012 RECs for quarters 1 and 2, and that resulted in a net revenue of $581,000. And this was credited to the fuel charge in that month. Currently banked for quarters 1 and 2, we have 750 RECs that we plan on retiring. Through January of 23rd, the total estimated RECs are 3,823, and that they had an estimated market value of $126,000 as of the date the writing of this report. Going on to Table 6 is transmission. Our transmission costs for the month of January were $774,000, and that's a little less than a 5% increase from December of 2012. Table 7 and 8 talk about the energy efficiency on the commercial side. RMLD calculates approximately a little over a megawatt of capacity savings and approximately 4,500 megawatt hours of energy savings. This includes 18 lighting rebates and 9 custom rebates that include chillers, pumping system, controllers, solar, variable speed drives, and refrigeration. On the residential side, the RMLD calculates 112 kilowatts of capacity savings and 81 megawatt hours of energy savings. They processed 579 rebates totaling $28,970 for the fiscal year. And the residential audits, we've completed 207 residential audits for a total of $41.4 thousand. As Kevin had mentioned, they're no longer on hold, and they're scheduling assessments this week, beginning for next week to go out to the customers. And also to date, we've had 85 natural gas audits that have been completed and billed to National Grid, saving the department $17,000.
Questions? Okay, see none. Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
Engineering and operations. Kevin. Go ahead.
Tonight, I'm going to present the E&O report for the month of February. So looking at the variance report on the first page, we're going to have about, well, my expectation is that we're going to spend about $5.2 million in FY13. Projects that will be carried into FY14 would be Project 3, Project 8, And under other projects, down in the line department vehicles, 19. 21, 22, 24, 25, and 26. There's about $1 million worth of carry, if you will, that'll be available for FY14. Flipping the page,
Where's Station 1? That's which one?
Station 1?
Yeah, Station 1 is which,
That's the historic building right next door.
that's Stark Building next door, okay. Couldn't remember where that was.
I have a question, Kevin.
Sure.
Some years ago, the retired general manager, we asked him that the reporting on projects that carry over more than 1 year, that the reporting shows the total cost and total budget, not just that year's what was going on. It turns out the only one that we ever got was the GAW station. But some of the reporting was of those projects that carried over. We didn't get that reporting. And some of the reporting, at least on paper, like the meter project, we've never seen that on paper here. It's my hope that the reporting on carryovers will be from the start of them, not just, oh, we're into a new year now and we'll forget about the past, because you forget about the past, maybe something is vastly overrun, but it was in the past and you never see it. So, as stewards of the budget, it would be good if we would see that reporting that would carry over.
Okay.
Kevin, is the Station 1, is that part of the, we had a presentation here a few months ago where it was like $3 million for total. So is this just a start on that, or what is?
It is. It is. We're only going to get a start on Station 1 this year, FY13.
Because I don't believe we voted to move forward with, until we found a better use, or thought of perhaps alternate uses, is perhaps a better way of saying it, for the building.
Okay, well, the budget was approved, FY13 budget was approved, so, if you will, there was a vote taken.
So it was in that budget, yep.
Right, but it'll be in the budget of which we're going to vote on.
Oh,
That you'll
good.
see on the 10th, so you'll get another bite
get
at the
another
apple.
shot.
Another bite at the apple.
But there will be bids on the project, is that right?
Absolutely. So flipping the page over to the capital plan, projects worked on for the month. Project 3, the old Linfield Center Urds, and if you'll remember, there's 3 phases to this entire thing, three subdivisions. We've completed phase 1, we're into the second subdivision, which will begin in the spring, and the carryover thereof will be the replacement of the asphalt and replenishing of the site. And then phase 3 will start again late in FY14. Project 5, the Shady Lane Reconductoring Project. 6 Federal Street, Wilmington, again a reconductoring project. Flipping the page, under routine construction, as I always report, of note, 22 cutouts were replaced this month for a total fiscal year to date of 140. So far as residential service installations, there were approximately 25 that were done. Over to the reliability report.
Question?
Go ahead.
Animal guard installation, is that to keep the squirrels off the transformers?
All wildlife,
All wildlife.
birds, raccoons.
Okay, out of the transformer.
Bob, you can't go
Well-
near it. You can't go near it.
This particular initiative is for overhead transformers. So onto the reliability report, and specifically Katie. Katie for the month was 69.29 minutes, and the Katy monthly and annual averages above the department's four-year average, are above the department's four-year average, as they have been. In February, we had 93 customers affected by outage, and 72 of those customers were affected in North Reading, where two separate incidents occurred. One, the day after the blizzard, the 9th of February. We had a pole snap by a tree, which affected a transformer. We had a leaking transformer in that incident. And there again, that caused, so transformer oil was involved in that. And then that involved 40 separate customers. Then we had a faulted step-down transformer where we had a leaking bushing, again, another leaking transformer. So if you remember the 6 things that I always report on that affect Katy, number of daylight hours, the crews that are in, nature of the work, et cetera, et cetera. If you take nature of the work, here you had 2 incidents that we had to have cleanups, which extended the amount of time that it took to do the cleanup, which is why the Katy numbers are up. But the big thing here, the takeaway here is that 93 customers total were affected in the month. Terrific. Which leads to, again, flipping the page over to safety.
Just a quick question on that, Kevin, before we go. On leaking transformers, is that considered a manufacturer's defect, or is that something just in the course of wear and tear?
Well, we had a faulted step-down. So an overpressure situation, it popped the bushing on the transformer, so it faulted internally.
It faulted internally?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one, a tree took down, snapped a pole, transformer went upside down.
Act of God, yeah.
So, act of God.
Right. But the first one is a warranty issue, right?
No, it's actually not.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
What is
No
a
warranty.
faulted step-down? What is that?
Well, step-down transformers.
Okay.
High voltage to lower voltage.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
And so it
Takes
didn't go higher to lower, huh?
Oh, it was going. You know, you take a transformer and you operate on the high side at 7,900 volts to
Right.
4160, that type of step down. So a rather large transformer on a pole. We upgraded the area, long story short, which, again,
Again, I was just searching if there was any payback from the
Warranty.
transformer manufacturer, if it was a fault from a manufacturer.
okay?
So I have a
People had
question.
added load, and the transformer was overloaded, is that the story?
No,
No?
no. Transformers do fail,
Okay,
and, you know, it's a piece of equipment
okay.
that is silent for a very long time, but there again, once in a while, they do fail.
So it sounds like that was an unexpected upgrade.
That's correct.
Does that go on capital?
Yes, the change-out of the transformer, the removal would be expense, and then the upgrade would be part of capital.
Okay.
Over to safety, as has consistently been the trend, the safety values have been very good, and so it goes for February. If you look here, 93 customers affected. If you look where that triangle is, that diamond is, excuse me, under February, it's really terrific. The average February safety is 0.34 outage incidents, and here we are at 0.04 outage incidents. So that led to an MBTI, months between interrupted, of 41 months interruptions for the year. So, wonderful
Right.
news. A quick update on the meter project. As reported at the February meeting, the department continues to program and install the commercial meters. We've sort of stopped on the residential meters for the time being until the snow ends and, you know, the snow completely abates, and then we'll move back into the residential upgrade project.
I have a question on that.
Go ahead.
There was some concern expressed in the CAB meeting notes that we were given about whether commercial customers would end up offline, how that would impact them with the meter switch out.
Well, we'd have to schedule any outages with the customers.
So they go out, what, do we do it overnight? How do we?
It depends. Some will have to be done
Mhm.
in that way, but we'll have to schedule them.
So if it's a big enough company with emergency backup, maybe they just turn the emergency backup on while you do it, or?
I don't think that's going to be the case
Yeah.
with those type customers that you might be considering. It's actually the smaller customers.
Okay.
That's where the outage would take place. Reliability statistics for the month. We had 2 snowstorms in February. 127 calls were placed, 9 outage incidents, 93 customers affected. No feeders were out, 4 area outages, and 5 service outages. So very tranquil month, and thankfully so with the storms that we had. That ends my report.
Okay. Questions, comments? Okay, I see none. Bob, you're already in position. Go ahead.
I'll be reporting the January financial statements tonight. NWIC's having some growing pains with their new billing system. That's why January's been late in its issuance, and that's why February's a little delayed. But as Kevin mentioned earlier, hopefully they're going to get their new billing system squared away and we'll be able to get back on a timely schedule. So for the month of January, the net income, a positive change in net assets, was $615,000, which increased our year-to-date net income to $2.3 million. We had budgeted for the same time period $1.3 million, which resulted in net income being over budget by about $1 million or 77%. The actual year-to-date fuel revenue exceeded fuel expenses by $184,000. On the revenue side, page 11B, the year-to-date base revenues are under budget by $1.2 million, or a little over 4%. The actual base revenues came in at $27.4 million compared to the budgeted amount of $28.6. On the expense side, page 12A, year-to-date purchase power base expense was under budget by $1.3 million, or about 7%. Actual purchase power base costs were at $16.7 million compared to the budgeted amount of $18 million. On the operating and maintenance side, expenses combined were over budget by $120,000, or a little over 1.5%. The actual operating and maintenance expenses came in at $7.3 million compared to the budgeted amount of $7.1 million. The depreciation expense and the voluntary payments to the 4 towns were on budget. Cash on page 9. The operating fund is at a healthy $11.2 million. The capital fund balance is a little over $3 million. Rate stabilization fund, $6.6 million. Deferred fuel, $2.4 million. And the energy conservation fund is at $228,000. On the general information side, looking at page 5, the year-to-date kilowatt hour sales came in at 423 million, which is about 4.4 million kilowatt hours, or about a little over 1% ahead of last year's actual figure. The GAR revenues collected year-to-date were $423,000, which brought the total collected since inception to about 1.7 million. On the budget variance report, cumulatively, the 5 divisions were over budget by about $125,000, or a little over 1%. And there's a few side items. I think Jane mentioned in her report, we did receive some proceeds from the sale of the renewable energy certificates of $582,000. You couple that with the June 2012 proceeds we received of $344,000. To date, we received $926,000 from the sale of the RECs, which is netted against our fuel expense. The DPU report has been completed for the calendar year 2012, and next month will be budget season, and we'll be seeing a lot of each other in the next upcoming weeks.
Bob, just a quick question. What did we originally pay for the RECs?
That's bundled within the contract price, so those were a little under 10 cents for the energy capacity as well as the RECs. So we didn't purchase the RECs separately, we purchased the bundled
Part of the
product.
contract, yeah.
So it's difficult to separate out whether,
If you look at that table 4, and you look at the average cost of those hydros.
right,
And if you look at the average proceeds that we got, you can get into a kilowatt per hour, and you can determine what the average cost
Okay.
versus of that power by backing up the RECs.
sure. I was just trying to figure out whether we actually were level with purchase versus sale versus do we actually make money off of the RECs or not? And that was the basis for the question.
All you can do is look at what it costs once you subtract the RECs out per kilowatt hour.
Right.
But there was no separation in the contract.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Question? Go ahead, Bob.
Bob, on page 11B, we have energy conservation residential and commercial, 2 separate lines. And on 12A, there's energy conservation, and I'm having difficulty making those 2 jibe, because on 12A, it shows 482K, and on 11B, if I add up those 2, I get to 417K.
The two aren't meant to equal.
They're not meant to equal.
No, the energy conservation charge is based on per kilowatt hour sold
Yeah.
each month. And so we have a kitty we have a fund that accumulates. And that's why in the beginning of my report, when I mentioned on page 9, the Energy Conservation Fund, it's at 228. But that goes back to the inception of the program. So some years, the early years, we actually collected more than we spent. Now we're trying to spend more. So when you can think about it.
11B then is the income,
Right.
and 12 is the outgo.
Right, so what ends up happening, some years we either overspend or overcollect, depending how much activity goes through and what projects are being, what programs are being administered in that particular year. But year-to-date, since the inception of the program, we're at $228,000 on the plus side. And we still continue to accumulate that in our monthly billings, and we still spend the money based on the programs that we do ongoing.
So we're collecting for our energy conservation commercial. Is that right?
Right. But initially, when the program was started, we had two separate rates for residential and commercial. Now I believe they're the same rate all the way across. But it's still nice to show resi and commercial balances, because in the programs, we do have specific resi programs and specific commercial programs, but the money gets all.
For the commercial, we pretty much had a dedicated person who's no longer with us. So won't we be accumulating a lot of dollars and not providing service?
The programs are still intact.
I understand, but
Well, the position will be filled.
in the meantime, we are collecting but not really providing services. In the meantime, should we change that rate?
Well, it's a filed rate. All I can say is the position's going to be filled, Bob.
How long will that take?
How long will it take?
Yeah.
It depends on the pool of applicants.
We,
I mean, when you get right down to it, we're still providing a service. Our intention is still to provide the service.
so we have somebody who knows about all these starters and,
We will have somebody that knows about this.
but we currently don't.
We currently don't. Jane is actually taking a lot of the calls and vetting out the information, deciding upon what to do currently with these phone calls.
I wish we knew how long it would take to staff, because we might consider changing that filed rate.
The other thing too is you'll have more money, you maybe could do more with that on the other side, on conservation. Because you'll have more funds, you could maybe even expand the program beyond what it is now.
But if you
That's
don't
a
have the people,
possibility.
if you don't have the
Well,
people,
We
what are
will
you
have the
gonna
people.
do?
They're in the process of getting another person, Bob.
But we're going to work to fill a position.
Right, they'll be filling the position, so.
Okay. Oh, and one more. Page 13, it looks like Cogsdale is going to do some kind of major upgrade, for which we spent $2,000 or so.
Which number was this?
Number 9, professional service, number 19, and the amount is exactly equal to the Cogsdale amount. Are we upgrading the software or something?
We had Cogsdale come out to help us with the meter project. They had to do some software changes. Nothing was budgeted. They came out two people came out for less than a week, and that was their traveling expenses to help us get the necessary software upgrade so we could.
Okay, it said it was a site assessment,
Right, and they came out.
but apparently they did something.
Right.
And is there more to come, or is that the end of it?
Right now, we're all set. When we start the commercial side of the metering project, they may have to come back out and tweak the software a little more because of the difference in the meters.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Other questions? See none, let's move on to the bids. Is that Dave? Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Hello?
Wanted to present two bids this evening on two pickup trucks. The first one is a pickup truck with a liftgate. We sent bids out to 11 companies. We received 5 bids. 4 of the 5 bids were responsive. And the lowest bid was Bonnell Motors, and the department recommends that the contract be awarded to Bonnell Motors for $28,850 for the purchase of a Ford F-250 pickup truck with a liftgate.
Dave, is a liftgate a hydraulically operated lift on the back
Yes,
of the truck?
yes, it's mounted on the back of the truck, and they would use that to lift up heavy items like barrels or other debris, other items.
Is that F-250?
Yes,
Is that a pickup?
yes,
It is.
yeah.
There was no state schedule for this?
Excuse me?
There was no state schedule? Oftentimes in the past for trucks and stuff, there was a state schedule and you just picked it?
Oh, we looked at the state bid contract. They didn't offer some of the items that we wanted, like the liftgate wasn't part of it, so we went out for competitive bids.
Okay.
You want to read the motion?
Sure. Move that the bid 2013-27 for one pickup truck with liftgate be awarded to Bonnell Motors, Inc. for $28,850 as the lowest qualified and responsive bidder on the recommendation of the interim general manager.
Is that seconded?
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? I see none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries 4-0. Go on to the next one, Dave.
Okay, thank you. The second pickup truck is a Ford F-250 pickup truck with a plow. And we put these bids out at the same time, sent a bid package out to 11 companies. Well, we advertised it, sent it out to 11 companies that requested a package. 5 companies responded. 4 out of the 5 companies were responsive with their bid response. The lowest qualified and responsive bidder was Stoneham Ford. So we recommend that the bid be awarded to Stoneham Ford in the amount of $31,003.
Dave, how many trucks do we have that have plows on them now?
We have, right now, we have one that's just a pickup truck with a plow, and we have another one that's a sander with a plow on it. So this will give us 3. The one with the sander has a little bit less flexibility, but this will give us 2 with plows, and we'll be able to take the plow off, obviously, during other times and use them for other reasons.
I would have thought we'd had actually more than that, but, yeah, okay, good. Thank you. I move that bid number 2013-28 for one pickup truck with plow be awarded to Stoneham Motor Company, Inc. for $31,003 as the lowest qualified and responsive bidder on the recommendation of the interim general manager.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Question.
Mr. Sanders.
Again, it wasn't on the state schedule?
Yeah, there was some items that this one didn't have. I don't think the plow was on the state schedule. Again, I personally looked at the state schedule as well, and, I didn't see them offering everything that we needed, and we put this out for competitive bid. Any other questions?
Discussion, questions? Okay, I see none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries. All right, we're up to general discussion. Anybody have anything?
I have a concern I wanted to express
Yep.
that, based on, going back a ways, there used to be an assistant general manager, and there really are, there is not one, and there aren't that many opportunities for senior staff to get that kind of experience. And it's going to take quite a while, much longer than we thought, to hire a new general manager. So I wanted to suggest that we might have a rotation. That's often what happens where I work, when a manager's going to be gone for a while. They'll rotate staff into that position in order to give everybody the expertise. So I'm not sure I know the entire who is senior staff, but I know there are several senior staff who were, are at a level that might be considered for rotating into the interim general manager position.
Okay. Anything else in the general discussion?
And I have a suggested motion.
Okay. Go ahead.
Move that the RMLD Board of Commissioners pursuant to Commonwealth of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 164, Section 56, appoint senior staff on a rotating basis to the position of interim general manager with Mr. Sullivan and Ms. Parento in those roles, and that Ms. Parento be appointed for the 3-month period starting, it could be April 1st or May 1st, but, and then there could be anybody else who's on that same level would rotate in as the search for the general manager continues, if it continues beyond that.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shouldn't this type of decision be left up to the general manager?
The general manager retired.
The interim general manager?
Well, we just got a lecture about how the board is responsible for appointing the general manager, so to give senior staff the opportunity to get this expertise, I think, is something we should consider.
I really think the board is overreaching on this.
What is the motion again? Please read the motion again, so I understand what it is.
The motion is to have senior staff on a rotating basis in the position of interim general manager.
Wasn't there more at first?
I can read it, but you have to fill in the dates. I know there was a discussion on the meeting that was called suddenly for February 20th, where there was a blank for the dates and the people. So the motion parallels that. Move that the RMLD Board of Commissioners pursuant to Commonwealth of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 164, Section 56, appoint senior staff on a rotating basis to the position of interim general manager with Mr. Sullivan and Ms. Parento in those roles, and that Ms. Parento be appointed for the next 3-month period starting April 1st, or, that motion could be amended to start May 1st.
First off, this board after tonight is going to be very different, quite truthfully. So I'm not sure whether this is something that should be left for the new board to decide, since it's really it'd be very different from what this board is doing here. In terms of the search committee, right now we have, the recruiter is out there. He's been given a timeline as to when he's to be back. We would hope by June that we would have somebody in place, is what the search committee is hoping at this point, in terms of where we are at this point. So I cannot support this at this point, to be quite true with Gina. I'm sorry. I cannot support this at this point.
I'd like to make a comment on it. I think that it's a good idea. I think that senior staff should have the opportunity to assume a role for some period of time, because it is temporary. And Kevin, when we get it, we hire someone to fill in the spot, then, right? I mean, it'll be the permanent general manager, unless we decide to hire you to be in the spot or someone else to be in the spot. But having the opportunity to kind of rotate through it, I think is a good learning experience and helps prepare people in the organization to step up. And so, in general, I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good idea. And Phil, I understand that the board may change its constituency here.
I second the motion. I move to amend the date to April 15th.
Accept that?
Been moved to second. I really oppose this, to be quite truthful with you. I do feel that the new board should be given the chance to make this decision, not this board. I do not feel this is wise going forward at this point. My opinion is that I think we have a new general manager in place sometime in June, I would hope, at this point, and I just feel this is not the right move at this point for some of the decisions that have gone forward at this point. So I think we should stay the way we are at this point, going forward at this point. So, and I think if we're trying to train, one of the things that I feel that, the retired general manager has let down is he didn't train somebody to bring along. And I would hope in the new general manager that is somebody who brings along, somebody going forward at this point. I just think this is very unwise at this point to go forward and have this at this point. I just don't see that this is a wise thing and will help the department. I think, we need one person at the front of the board to run it, or one person in the front of the department to run it. We don't need somebody, coming along and basing decisions today get counterbalanced, countermanded, on April the 15th. I just don't see this as a very wise move. I don't think it's the best for the department at this point, and I think we really should wait until we get a new general manager in place. I don't see this as really helping train somebody. I don't. All I see is just, a short period of time, and the new general manager comes in, and there's no real, that's not a really training period at this time. That's my feeling. So, it's up to the board.
We call for a vote?
Call for a vote, okay. All right, any further discussion? Okay, I see none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed? That motion carries. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed? That motion carries.